What's up, everybody? I'm Scott.
I'm Jason.
And you are listening to a very special Liquid Kernedge.
How special is it?
It's like an after-school special.
I'm already excited.
We have on our show today, not one, but potentially two guests with us. Both former guests on the show coming back just to kind of help us out and riff with us this week and potentially next week, because you're on vacation next week. You're taking a cruise, which we're going to talk about. So we got to do a little bit of a double recording. So this could be an extra long episode that we roll into next week too. So
a two-parter. Okay.
We might leave this on a cliffhanger. We're going to leave this on a cliffhanger, not a Walking Dead cliffhanger, but one a very similar. What's the word I'm looking for? Anticipation, if it were.
Wow, I'm excited. Oh man, our audience is going to be.
So let me introduce our guest. You've seen him on the Twitter. You've now seen him on Instagram. We make sure we plug him every week at Liquid_EP. Our executive producer, Tom, is joining us here tonight.
Tom,
welcome to the show.
Okay, first note, can you let the guest say something? Second note, I would like to say it's a pleasure to be here, but I was kind of guilted into it because of the constant badgering. By the way, do you have to send me text messages every 5 minutes asking me to be on your show? I send you notes, so you will leave me alone. Also, when do the girls get here? You said there'd be girls.
Well, Tom, about that. This is a podcast, and you're in Phoenix, I'm in Kingman, and Jason's in North Scottsdale, and our other guest is on this side of Kingman. So, women is a relative term around here. They might come on later on. I don't know. You have to stick around and find out.
Are you trying to Negan me in Walking Dead and just make me completely tune out of your show?
Oh, that is harsh.
No, we want you to listen this week because you're going to be on it, so you're going to definitely want to hear your voice.
I don't know if I want to listen to my silky smooth voice.
Well, I will have one rebuttal to your note so far. We prefer our guests don't talk until they're properly introduced. And I should have gone over that with you in the pre-show notes, but I thought that was a given. So I will take possession of that bad.
Fair enough. Anyway,
I think it's important for you to get at least a commentary in to start our show, though.
Yeah, I think so. We do want to thank you for coming on here today, Tom. You're right. We have been badgering you to come on. We have changed the recording dates this week to accommodate your very busy social life down in Phoenix, which I'll be the first one to admit. I was not fully aware of how social you were down there. So I will tip my hat to you, good sir. Good on you for being social.
Yeah, somebody has to do it.
I mean, normally you're on what, bowling league night on Tuesdays?
No, bowling's on Wednesdays, and that starts back up here.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Tuesdays dinner with friends, as Jason was explaining last week, and it's not a nice dinner, quote unquote. It's just like for 4 or 5 of us don't feel like cooking. Hey, where are we going to go have dinner at? And basically talk about nerd things. Like last week, the discussion was, is science fiction fantasy? So to non-nerds, the answer is yes. To nerds, it was a 45-minute dissertation on whether or not Star Trek was fantasy or science fiction or science fact.
Oh,
well, I wish I was making this up. I really wish I was making this up.
I would love to dive into that topic. I really would, but
I would love not to.
For our listeners out there, I think we lose them faster than we lost the fans of The Walking Dead when Negan started dragging on. By the way, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the season finale of this past week's Walking Dead, it was a solid finish, the close of a chapter, and I really enjoyed what they did with the new Fear of the Walking Dead. Well, the reboot they did on that was fantastic. So I'm really excited for that show again.
That being said, I think that a good way to kind of segue into this week's show is I think that our executive producer, since he will now have the forum to be able to speak, I think it would be interesting to tell the listeners out how you've gotten involved with Liquid Kernedge from the very beginning. I'm not talking like episode 7, 10, 15. From the very beginning, our executive producer has been a staple of our show. And I think that a brief history for those who have wondered about the legend but had never really gotten the true story, it would be interesting for them to hear how you got involved with Liquid Kernedge.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, I'd like to know how you weaseled your way on here too, because this happened very randomly. It was a running joke that just kind of took off, and now you're honestly a really important part of the show.
Well, gentlemen, it all started on a hot, sweaty night in the summer of 1980.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I know where this is going.
Wow. Okay, and let's stop there.
Look, let's stop this. Let's fast forward to the spring of 2017, if it were.
Okay. Sorry, reel-to-reel memory. So what was it? So I'm at home one night and I'm surfing on my iPad, and my brother posts on social media, "Hey, we're starting a podcast, blah blah blah." And he's already posted it. It's on some site I've never heard of, and I go,
Podbean. Thank you very much.
"Oh, there you go." And so I listen to it through the browser on my phone, and I've got my iPad out, and I start texting Scott, "Hey, this, hey, this, hey, this," and I just kept going and going and going, and then I finished it, and I said, "Send me the next episode." He's like, "Oh, we got 3 more in the shoot. Send them all to me." So I cracked open. So I violated my first rule of executive producing, which I made that night, which is don't give notes and drink.
That's good to know that now, because that means you did everything else sober, and that's scary. Some of the venom you were kicking at us with,
Well, okay. So the first like 3 episodes that you guys did them all in one big batch.
Yes.
So it
Yeah.
was like a Friday night, and I didn't have anything going on, so I was at home, and I was already 1.5 into a 6-pack of really delicious Santan IPAs. I think it was the Hot Galaxy, whatever. It doesn't matter. By the end of it, oh boy, it was brutal. So
The show was brutal, or your buzz was brutal, because you're about to hurt some egos depending on how you finish that sentence.
Oh, both. It
Okay.
was brutal. The hangover the next morning wasn't any better either.
Wow.
So on a go forward basis, I have a pretty decent amount of time. I have some slack time when these shows come out, so I started listening to them at work, and I figured out a system of taking notes and doing the stuff while I was waiting for other things to happen at work. So while it's a 45-hour show, it might take me 2 to 3 hours to listen to it as I'm waiting for things to happen on the days they come out. So that's how it became a thing. And then Scott, apparently you had an intern at one point, and he showed up for like one show and did the intern thing and didn't do anything. And so I became the only functional component outside of the sphere of you two knuckleheads that was giving you any sort of feedback that wasn't, "Hey, you're great." It was like actual constructive feedback.
And we have grown from that feedback, by the way.
Yeah, Jason, your audio still is your dude. You're doing something. It is driving me up the
Whatever,
wall.
dude. I don't even know what you're talking about. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're the executive producer.
I have learned to sit
apologize.
very still for the record, so my audio is fine now.
Okay, so actually, let's do a little behind the scenes here. So, as I'm sitting in my house in Tempe, and I'm talking on what is this, Anchor?
Mm-hmm.
On the Anchor
Yes.
app, I'm on my Beats headset, Bluetoothed into my phone, and this is the headset I use for conference calls.
And you sound very good, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Now, Jason, you are on your phone, I presume, and what apparatus are you using to talk into said device?
I use Beats.
Okay, well that's weird. And Scott, what are you using?
Oh, I'm cheap. I use the Apple ones.
Yeah, which are also Beats. Okay.
Oh, for the record, I chose the Beats pill over the headset because
okay.
I live alone, so I can listen to the music as loud as I want. So
I bought a Sonos instead of a Beats pill, but okay. But point is we're all using Bluetooth input devices. We're not talking directly into the thing in the whole bit. So, Jason, I still don't understand why you drop out every now and again when I listen to the show. So, dear listeners, I apologize for Jason. That is literally, there are two running commentary items every week in the notes. One is, Jason, please do something about your audio and clean it up just a little bit. And 2, lol, social media engagement.
Speaking of which, tell us your thoughts on Tom so far on our social media so we can get some engagement. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the Instagram, all at Liquid Kernedge. And if you want to follow Tom, it's liquid_EP. He does take followers now, and I will admit, for the most part, his notes are pretty funny that he posts on Twitter.
The Twitter notes are like what I consider to be the cream of the crop, but it's really hard to work the Picard gif in there every week. I really have to work at that. Yeah,
those are just a fraction of the notes he gets, because it's gotten to the point now when you do send those notes, no matter what I'm doing in the office, I see that come across my watch, and part of me shudders a little bit, like, oh God, what is he going to think this week? And then I go through them. They're generally not bad. It's just, I have to remember that you and I have two very different personalities, and they really show because you're very critical to make sure we have the best show possible. And for whatever reason that you admittedly pointed out to me over your birthday weekend is that you don't give me your approval to make me be better, which now, ipso facto, you might as well give it to me because I don't care anymore.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. See,
wow, you've grown up, Scott. You don't care anymore.
We had a very Freudian moment over his birthday weekend. Any rate, though.
Actually, Scott, can we circle back around to that one really quick?
Oh, okay.
Can we tell the listeners what I was doing for my birthday weekend?
You were at Country Thunder, Tom.
And Scott, do you want to ask me how much I had to drink at Country Thunder?
I call that my warm-up for the record. But go ahead, Tom. How much did you have to drink for your first night of Country Thunder?
My first night or total?
Well, the night you were telling me off about how I will get your approval.
No, that was like the second night.
Oh.
So that day it was an 18-pack of Coors into it, and when I was texting you, I was a quarter of the way through a bottle of Canadian and Coke.
Oh.
In a 32-ounce tumbler. So,
That's
but
amateur hour.
I was in the sun. I was in the sun all day, and also there was no water. So, just saying, I was lit.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Was there a lot of eye candy? Was there a lot of eye candy at this Country Thunder?
Hey, Jason?
Yes?
What happens at Country Thunder, much like Vegas, stays at Country Thunder. You have to come experience the redneck yourself.
I will forward you the pictures later on, Jason, because he sent me pictures all weekend, whether I wanted them or not. So,
well, you realize this is a very important episode in the history of Liquid Kernedge.
Is this the 1 year episode, 1 year anniversary episode?
No, but it's the 50th episode tonight. Tonight is the 50th episode, and how we've progressed from a wink and an eye to now is just uncanny how we've grown as a podcast.
I think so.
And much with the help of our executive producer, who is on the show tonight. And for the record, I believe that Star Trek is about as close as to the modern day Bible as you can get.
Oh, dear God. Let's not
seriously, dude? Come
Let's
on,
not do this.
No.
All right.
What are you talking about?
All
you guys talk shit about Star Trek. It's like the best show
I'm
ever.
not talking shit about Star Trek. I'm trying not to talk about Star Trek.
Hey, Scott, stop. Let the nerds have this one. So, Jason.
Yes.
When you say Star Trek is the modern day Bible, which one are you referring to?
Oh, the only one that really matters.
Which is?
Next Generation, and that's it.
I'm sorry to say, you are wrong. And you are wrong on so many levels. Deep Space Nine is the one true Star Trek.
No, Tom, take that back. Take that back, Tom.
Jason, no.
There's Tom. Oh, my God. Okay.
Jason,
and that's probably why. No.
Yes.
All right,
Scott.
I'm going to circle this one back onto the next topic here.
Straighten out here.
I'm just going to call the executive decision so we could get our listeners back. We have a pretty big weekend ahead of us. If I do say so myself, there's a lot going on this weekend. That's part of why this is a 2-part episode. Jason, you're about to take off for a week on a Bahama cruise to a wedding.
Yes, I leave Saturday, and I will be gone from Saturday till the following Sunday.
Wow! And we
have Adam and Brittany are getting married, and we'll be celebrating their nuptials on April 23rd. So a quick shout out to
congratulations,
the new couples.
You guys. Congratulations, you guys. Yes. I know Adam's a regular listener to the show up in Vegas. He is helping stack our Nevada numbers. We appreciate that.
Yep. So I will be celebrating on a cruise boat, and I'm excited.
Yeah,
Scott, what do you got going?
I actually have a very busy weekend here. I'll be down in Phoenix this weekend for the first time in a couple of years. Tom and I have a concert. We're going to U-Fest on Friday night. We're going to go see Seven Dust, Jonathan Davis of Korn, and Five Finger Death Punch.
We might see Jonathan Davis. It depends on what time we show up.
If he's in the middle, we're stuck because I do want to see Seven Dust.
Yeah, I do want to see Seven Dust.
And I've already seen Five Finger. They're a great show live, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes when our buddy Brian Binkney gets on the show here because he used to be the lead singer of a band that opened up for the Deftones. So we're going to talk about bands here in a little while, but we're going to that Friday night. Saturday morning, our former intern, JP, some friends from our gym, and myself are going to run the Pat Tillman Memorial Run down in Tempe. That's 4.2 miles. So we're looking forward to that. That'll be fun. And then Saturday evening, we're going to the Archie Bradley bobblehead night at the Arizona Diamondbacks game. So it's a pretty busy weekend.
Jesus, yeah, I guess so. You guys are definitely going to be having some fun.
Yeah, it's wall-to-wall action. I get down there Thursday night so I can get my packet pickup for the race on Friday, and then it's just boom, boom, boom. Plus, Super Troopers 2 comes out this weekend. That's 17 years in the making, so I have to find time to see that.
Now, is it going to be offensive to you both that I've never seen Super Troopers?
If we were in the same room, I'd have you hold 2 glasses right now so I could slap you.
Actually, that would be throat punch worthy right there.
Mm-hmm. If you've never seen Super Troopers, you do not appreciate what a low budget comedy is, because those guys took a low budget and made a huge cult movie. It is so funny.
Okay, so I need to watch that movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
will watch it.
It's a highbrow, lowbrow movie, if that makes sense.
It does.
So
it does. Okay, I'll work on that. I got to work on that.
And plus, on top of that, to make the second one, they used a GoFundMe to try to make $3 million to make the second movie, and they made that within a couple hours, and then a couple million more dollars on top of that because there was such a want for people to see what those guys do next. So,
all right, good. I'm going to watch it. Now, Tom, are you running in the? Are you going to run in the Tilghman Run?
I only think the only thing I run to is the fridge.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tillman's a big. I've always been a big fan of Pat Tilghman. He was an Arizona State Sun Devil. He's a draft pick by the Cardinals. For those that don't know, he left a multi-million-dollar contract on the table from the Cardinals in 2001 to go join the Army to fight for our country after 9/11, and he was killed by friendly fire in 2003. So, very important man in Arizona history, as well. Well, United States history now too. So it's a lot of fun. This is the bucket list thing for me. So I'm very excited for it, and nervous because I.
Are you ready for it physically?
There are 28,000 runners on Saturday. So I know full well I will not place. So JP and I have decided we will walk this thing. We're not going to win medals. We're going for the experience. So if we find a bar that's open down in the Tempe area that early in the morning, we might stop and have a beer and then go on our merry way. Nothing is off limits.
Well, no, come on. No, you got to run. You got to run the thing. You can't just walk.
Well,
what's the point? Stop being a pansy ass.
Well, we would like to run it with you, but you're taking off to the Bahamas.
Believe me, I told Noreen, I said next year I'm running it. Scott, me, and Jim Pemberton. Maybe Tom. We'll do a whole Liquid Kernedge run.
Ooh, we'll add that to the list.
We'll
add that to the list.
Yep.
So, speaking of things
baby.
we're trying to do as a podcast to get some of that social media engagement. Tom, you can laugh out loud now. We were thinking it would be cool to go fly up to Sacramento, see our buddy Bruce, do a show, rent a car, and take the Great Liquid Kernedge road trip. The Liquid Kernedge American road trip. I forgot how I phrased that. From Sacramento back down to Phoenix, and just recording along the way at all the most random things between NorCal and Arizona. What do you think about that, Tom?
What do you think?
Just take a long weekend to do that.
No.
You don't want to rent a van and go ahead and do that with us?
Scott, do you ever wonder why Thanksgiving is generally between 24 and 36 hours?
No, I've got a pretty good idea.
Okay, the same reasons.
You can't think that we can't get along for 2 days in a van driving on the open highway.
Scott, you're not the one I'm worried about.
Jason is?
Oh, screw you, Tom. See, this is why you get throat punched when I read your text about me getting throat punched. You get throat punched because you and I would get along like famous.
I do want to thank our listeners who are still holding on this far. This has turned into a very cathartic Liquid Kernedge team therapy session. I don't know if you remember that first season of The Simpsons where the whole Simpson family goes to the therapy and they keep pushing the button to electrocute each other. That would be us right now if we were in the same room, attached to any kind of electrodes. So,
Tom, I thought we would get along well.
I never said anything about you, Jason. I never said Scott either.
Oh,
there's always that third or fourth person because Scott never comes alone. Scott always has an entourage.
That's true.
Nah, it doesn't really happen that much anymore.
He does.
That doesn't really happen that much anymore. Everyone's off doing their own thing. So, and if this was a Liquid Kernedge thing, I'd keep it very Liquid Kernedge-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey,
don't worry, Tom. We'd have your 18 beers and your
Canadian you get to sit in the back and just get shitty and talk trash the entire time.
Yeah.
But you'd have to take notes, though. Very important. You have to take notes. That's very important.
Tom, if you could take a road trip anywhere, though, like where would you take a road trip to just to see the great American wide open?
Actually, I have given that a fair amount of thought. So it would involve me, my truck, and my trailer. Hook it up. So stop one would be Jacobs Lake, Arizona. Jacobs Lake is famous for its FLDS ladies and their cookies. The cookies are fantastic. I would buy 3 dozen of said cookies. I would then go from. Oh, hold on. There's
giving us a lot of thought, apparently.
There's a reason behind. There's a method to this madness.
Before you go any further, Tom, I do want to tell our listeners this is all completely off the cuff right now. This was not rehearsed. Tom is really telling us off the cuff of what his perfect American road trip would be. So you've got cookies from Jacobs Lake from the FLDS.
I have 3 dozen cookies from the FLDS at Jacobs Lake. I then proceed north into Utah, and it's not Zion, but it's the other big kind of off-road thing that's on the eastern side of Utah, and I can't think of the name. Moab. So head up towards Moab, hang out there for a couple of days. From there, proceed east into Colorado on the 70, hit Denver, and I've got a bunch of friends in the Denver area. So Denver, Boulder, Fort Collins, Fort Collins still. So do a couple of days in there. Proceed north to Wyoming, Devil's Tower, because Close Encounters of the Third Kind, you can't not see Devil's Tower.
No. True.
So at this point, we come to a decision point. I can go one of 2 ways. And it depends on how much time I have left. So I'm already at 6 days at this point, possibly more.
And you still have to drive back to Phoenix after that. So
exactly. So that's why we're at the decision point. And by the way, there's about 2 dozen cookies left, maybe.
No, that's good for the cookie count.
So the decision point is this. If there's more than 5 days, proceed to Mount Rushmore. If there's less than 5 days, proceed to Scottsbluff, Nebraska. And in Scottsbluff, Nebraska resides the world's most badass park ranger.
AJ Legault.
Is AJ, Mr. Senor AJ Legault.
I think he's a listener. He's never said
he might be a listener. And AJ's going to actually be in Phoenix in the first couple of weeks in May. So he and I are going to have dinner. So
good.
AJ, I'm sure, says hi. Hi, AJ. But AJ and his partner, Jason, will receive the remains of the FLDS cookies because AJ was the first one to bring me FLDS cookies when he was a backcountry ranger at Grand Canyon way back when, before he became a machine gun carrying park ranger, as our father, the highway patrolman, would say. And then from there, I would proceed down, probably straight down south to I-40, and then take I-40 back to Flag and back to Phoenix.
This is a very well thought out road trip. Like, you've given us a lot of thought.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's about 3,000 miles when it's all done and said.
Like I'm sitting here thinking, like, I think I just might fly to Boston, Portland, Maine, rent a car, and just stop wherever looks cool. And, just do that. Just come across the country that way. Just drive, 10, 12 hours a day, not be in a big hurry, and just stop and see the sights.
Now, you see, here's the B road trip is to take again truck and trailer, go to I-5 to about Sacramento, San Jose, somewhere in that area, and then follow Highway 1 on the coast through Northern California up into the Portland, Oregon area.
See, I want to point out
back down.
I want to point out, Bruce. I know you're listening to the show. He's going to blow you off in Sacramento. He's not going to go to the old Sac to see you.
Well, okay.
He's going to go straight past to go to and that's kind of messed up because
Well, I don't want to impose, and also
it's Bruce. He's not going to care. You just have a couple insults back and forth, joke wise. You have a beer, you go on your way. You don't have to stay. Just have to say hi.
This is true. All right, but anywho, so that is Plan B. So that is the B trip.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what we should do. What we should do is you should map this out, and then for any listeners that want to emulate the executive producer, we could call it the Liquid Kernedge Executive Trail. And they fall. What do you mean?
Your own path. Don't follow somebody else's.
No, because hey, these Appalachian Trail, Pacific Coast Trail, there's all these trails. We could call the Liquid Kernedge Executive Trail, and if someone wants to follow in the footsteps of our executive producer, they have the opportunity to do that. What's wrong with that? Boy, I like
think it's great.
I think they can do better. Actually, so as we're kind of coming to the end of our first of a double feature. So I follow some folks on YouTube that it's really kind of interesting, and this is what got me thinking about, what would be my road trip. And I want to and I'm going to plug them, but I don't support them and they don't know me in any way, shape, or form. I'm just some dude on the internet. The first one is Gone with the Winds, who are two ridiculously good-looking people on a sailboat that started out in an RV 6 or 7 years ago and are going up and down the west coast of the Americas right now, and eventually to the Galapagos and French Polynesia, New Zealand, and Australia. Sorry, my phone is blowing up.
Wow.
The second one is a gentleman by the name of Nomadic Fanatic, who actually lives on the road full-time with his 12-pound cat, which is its own weird thing. We're not going to get into that. But he is actually doing the Great American Road Trip right now on what is called the Lincoln Highway. And last year he did Route 66 in 66 days. And that was really fascinating when he went through northern Arizona and did all those things on Route 66 that you've never done because you've lived there your entire life, Scott.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, so that's what's going on there. Cool. And then moved on. So those are the two that I would say, if listeners, you want to emulate someone, go emulate them. Don't emulate me.
What? I'm going to add on to that because I've been watching a YouTube channel that's really caught my attention. And it's something that's good. If you're into like working out and fitness and whatnot, it's a good travel workout program. What it is, it's called the Celtic Warrior Workouts. And the guy is Sheamus from the WWE, who obviously those professional wrestlers travel all over the country. So what Sheamus does is he goes through and they find gyms and whatever in hotels or CrossFit gyms or just drop in gyms they can drop in at. And he picks a wrestler and he does whatever their workout is. So sometimes it's Pilates, sometimes it's CrossFit, sometimes it's just straight weight training. But it's pretty interesting because he shows you that no matter where you're at in this country or what you're doing, you can find time to work out if you really want to. And, I'm just like you. He doesn't know me from Adam or Eve, but that's kind of caught my attention. And I'm always interested every week to see what kind of workout he's doing on the road. And I've done a couple of them in our gym, and they're brutal, man.
Hey, Jason. So
yes.
If you meet a vegan who does CrossFit in the forest, what's the first thing they tell you about themselves?
For the love of fuck. I'm trying to talk.
I don't know.
I'm trying to bond with my brother here on what I found on YouTube, and you punch me in the dick with it.
Wow. I don't even know how to segue.
Guys, you don't. Editor's notes. You just end it right there.
Motherfucker.
End it right
All right,
there.
so here's what we're going to do. I'm getting text from Brian right now. He's having wireless issues, so I'm not sure he'll be able to join us for our next show. But we're going to take a quick break. We're going to regroup, and then I want to get into concerts. It's the summertime's coming up. There's a lot of concerts out there, and I'll be honest, I've got tickets to some shows this year, so I want to talk about live music. We've talked about our most influential albums, but I want to hear about concerts. So, Jason, Tom, thanks for being on the show. You're going to hang out for this next episode too, right?
That was my plan. That's my plan.
Tom cleared his schedule for us tonight, so we have him. So, Jason, go ahead and take us out.
Well, obviously, you can reach us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Liquid Kernedge. You can get a hold of all of our executive producers' note at @liquid_EP. And we thank you for listening to us on Podbean, Apple iPod, or iTunes. Thank you. I look forward to talking to you guys again. I will say bon voyage because the next time you hear my voice, I will be somewhere in the Caribbean somewhere. But on that note, I want to thank our special guest, Tom, for being on the show. It's nice to hear your voice. On our 50th episode, that was Scott. I am Jason. And as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself some Liquid Kernedge.